Hello, listeners. Welcome back to Luke's English Podcast. So this is World Cup Ramble number 2. This is the second episode of the podcast covering the FIFA World Cup 2026. And just to be clear, everyone, this is a bonus episode, okay? So if you're not a football fan, feel free to skip this one. Don't feel any pressure to listen to it if football is not your cup of tea, or World Cup of tea in this case. You will get a normal episode very soon, okay? Probably next Monday, if not before. I'm not entirely sure because my uploading and publishing schedule is going to be disrupted a little bit over the next couple of months for several reasons. So this episode, this World Cup episode here, is not instead of your normal weekly episode. It is in addition to your normal episode, okay? And you'll get another normal free episode on Monday, if not before. Yes, my publishing schedule might become a bit irregular over the next couple of months because it's the summer holidays and the children are going to be off school. And so it's going to be harder for me to manage my time. But as ever, I will try to give you at least one normal episode per week on average, with occasional World Cup episodes thrown in, plus premium episodes too. So today it is the 30th of June, 2026. And hopefully I will be publishing this episode today. Time is of the essence with these World Cup episodes, because by this time tomorrow, things will have changed as the round of 32, the first knockout round, continues. And who knows, by the time you listen to this, things may have changed in a big way. Other matches will have been played. More teams will have been eliminated. But we will be talking today about things as they stand right now at about midday on Tuesday, the 30th of June. Okay. My co-host today is Zdenek, English teacher, podcaster, and big football fan. He is the host of the Footglish Podcast, which is available wherever you get your podcasts. That's the Footglish Podcast, a podcast all about football for learners of English. Now, I love football, as you know, listeners, especially World Cup football, but I'm more of a casual fan, really. I can talk about it, especially England, but Zdenek is generally more knowledgeable about football than I am. So it's great to have him here on the podcast in this episode. But in any case, I hope, listeners, that you are up for some football-related rambling here in World Cup Ramble number 2. Let's now talk to Zdenek. Hi, Zdenek. How are you doing?
Hi, Luke. I'm fine, thanks. And it's great to be back, as always, especially because we're talking about football. What a lovely occasion to be on Luke's English Podcast.
Yeah. How is this World Cup for you then so far?
Well, it's been fascinating. Okay, but as you know, I'm from the Czech Republic. As a Czech fan, I'm very disappointed that we didn't make it out of our group. However, all in all, it's been a really interesting World Cup already. And as you rightly pointed out, the group stage is over, and 4 games of the round of 32 have been played, and there are so many stories that we can look at and talk about. And yeah, it's very emotional for a lot of people for all sorts of reasons. For football fans, some people hate football too, of course, and so there's some politics involved as well. Yeah, so much to talk about, so much to explore.
Absolutely. So as we went into the World Cup just a few weeks ago when this all started, did you have World Cup fever, and do you have World Cup fever now?
I did, totally, especially since my team, Czechia, hadn't been a World Cup participant for 20 years. It took us 20 years to be back. So you can imagine I was really excited. I was absolutely buzzing, but unfortunately, it didn't go according to plan, which I should have known. But as you know, it's hope that kills you.
This is true. I'm afraid. Just never have any hope. That's the only way to survive this life. So, listeners, there's so many things for us to talk about. Of course, right? I'd like to mention as many teams as possible. I want to talk about some of the issues, some of the talking points, some of those meme-worthy moments that have already started happening. I want to talk about England. I want to talk about Czechia, or is it the Czech Republic? I think it's Czechia now. I think that everyone's made that switch. I want to talk about that and just the whole lot. So maybe we can start talking about. Yes, by getting into a bit more detail about Czechia, the Czech Republic. Is it Czechia or Czech Republic? I think it's Czechia, isn't it now, Zdenek?
What I will say is, as long as it's not Czechoslovakia, it's all fine.
Right, okay.
Believe me, there are still people who say Czechoslovakia. So
really?
Yeah, well, they're probably older people who remember the old times. And obviously, we used to be one country, then we split up. It was not violent at all. There was no war or anything. We just decided to split up for, I don't know. The politicians actually did that. There was no referendum. So that happened at the beginning of the 90s.
Yeah, conscious uncoupling, I think, is what
something
it could be described as. That's what happened when Chris Martin and Gwyneth Paltrow split up. They announced it to the press, but they didn't say, hey, we're divorcing or we're splitting up. They said, we are consciously uncoupling, which is a very kind of fluffy way of basically saying we're splitting up on good terms. But then, so for years, though, after the split, everyone called your country the Czech Republic. But then, what was it, five years ago or so?
7, 8, I don't know exactly, yeah. They suddenly, again, it was the politicians, as is always the case. They decided to shorten our name. Apparently, from what I heard, it was for some sort of business reasons, that it's just easier to refer to.
Yeah,
it's the Czech Republic. Just to write it takes a long time. And if you have some like drop-down menus online and things like that, it's just easier to say Czechia. But there was a bit of backlash in the Czech Republic because we didn't have any say in it, right? So, it is what it is. To be fair, I'm okay with it now. I am, I've got used to it myself. I didn't like it at first, but, as always, you get used to everything and it's actually fine. It sounds all right.
Fine. Okay, so we can continue to call it Czechia then, and that's fine. So then just let's talk about Czechia. And you said it's the first time that they had qualified for a World Cup in 20 years. The qualification process was pretty dramatic, wasn't it?
Oh, to be fair, we did not even expect to qualify, and we got lucky with the draw, with the playoffs draw, because we played both of our games at home. So we had to beat two opponents, and each of them we managed to defeat on penalties as well. So we won 2 penalty shootouts to qualify. And to be fair, our first opponent, Ireland, were the better team, but we just somehow got it done. A little bit luck, you could say. And then Denmark, by far more superior team to us. To be frank, they just play more technical football. It's just they are a better team overall. But again, somehow we got the game into the penalties and we won that penalty shootout. So that's how we got there. And it was a surprise. We did not expect it. The bookkeepers did not expect it. But I guess because we had both games at home, that was a contributing factor as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised actually that happens, that both games can be played at home. That is a huge advantage, of course. But anyway, you say we don't know how it happened, or maybe you didn't deserve it, or something like that. You seem to suggest. But I think if you win, I mean, the results speak for themselves. If you win, then you win, don't you? And that's the end.
No. You could say we deserved it for putting up a good fight. Yeah. So it was the way we did it. Like it's not the kind of performance that neutrals will admire, because to be fair, now that for the last 10, 15 years, we've been playing, let's say, more pragmatic football, keeping less possession. It kind of goes against the modern trends, and that's not nice. I'm not very happy about that.
What is the modern trend? Let's talk about that, because the game is quite different these days, and there is a certain style of play which is dominating international football and probably club football today. It's like a hyper version of football. How would you describe the kind of modern trend in
that's
football
a big
playing?
question. I don't know if I'm qualified enough to talk about this. So we had, obviously the trends change over time, and I guess there is, you hold the ball, right, possession based, but I don't think it's as much as during the time of tiki taka. I think it's less so. I think it's physical. I think. Oh my God! You really put me on the spot there.
High press,
high press. But you also have variations of that, right? It's not everyone. There's different formations as well, so it's hard to say. But definitely, if even if you look at these games in the World Cup, most of the teams, they have like skilled players, right? They have technical ability, the players, and they can hold the ball under pressure. They can do combination football, and this is something the Czech team seems to be lacking at the moment, and we are more like a set piece FC, really.
Yeah,
like
right.
Stoke City of football.
So when we talk about set pieces, the Stoke City of international football, when you talk about set pieces, right? So, I mean, I feel like we should probably explain a couple of bits of footballing terminology as we go through this. I'm assuming that obviously people listening are interested in football, and hopefully, I don't know, maybe people are aware of terms like high press and set pieces. I talked about those things in the previous World Cup Ramble, but it's worth, I think, just going over those things again a little bit. So when you talk about set pieces, we're talking about like dead ball situations, like corners and free kicks. And I think probably that kind of game where you rely on that sort of thing,
it's old-fashioned.
It's old-fashioned, and it favors teams that are good in the air and good, like tall, strong
players.
Tall players, strong physical teams as well. But it's a less complex version of playing the game. I think it probably also is like not just set pieces, but maybe long ball, right? The long ball game,
long throws as well.
So what's that?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Like even you hoof the ball long. When you kick the ball long.
Hoof. Yeah. That's a nice word. Hoofing the ball long. So this is always the way that England played traditionally, and a few other teams as well, especially like Northern European teams, it seems, like your Scandinavian teams, Sweden and Norway.
They used to, but it's not like that anymore. These teams now, they have world-class players like Haaland, Martin Odegaard, talking about Norway. It's different. They have academies. They just develop the players in a different way, and this is where we are lacking. We really, it's like we are 20 years behind or something. But we tried to do something about this in the World Cup. But the problem is we were sort of almost panicking, chopping and changing everything, and not really having a clear identity as a football team. So that was the issue. But going back to we're talking about what set pieces are. I think you could also include long throws, which somehow have become a huge weapon, and it was a huge weapon for the Czech team. We scored 1 goal in this World Cup from a long throw. It's basically when normally players wouldn't be able to throw the ball long, but these days I don't know what they have changed, but it's like the last 5-10 years you have Arsenal that are really good at it, and you have specialists. Every team has one player who can throw the ball into the 6-yard box, and it's very precise, very effective, very dangerous. It's exactly maybe even a better chance than a corner these days, and that's another. It's a really huge weapon if you know how to do it. And again, this used to be associated with like Stoke City or teams like that, but a lot of teams do it these days. Even it's big teams as well.
So again, we're calling this the long ball game. Lots of set pieces, hoofing the ball up into the penalty area towards probably a large sort of central attacker, centre forward, who maybe plays it with his head and down into, that kind of game. And England always used to play that. These days, we've broken away from that. Our new manager, Thomas Tuchel, that's how you pronounce it, right? Tuchel, people are pronouncing it differently. I think it's Tuchel. That's how I'm going to say it anyway. And he has definitely tried to fully get us away from that kind of old-fashioned English game. And you mentioned teams like Stoke City, sort of traditional English clubs that perhaps still play this kind of game. Yeah, like kicking the ball long towards the ball's up in the air. It's not on the ground. There's not a lot of triangles being played. Not so much inventive technical football played on the grass, but just hoofing it towards some big guy up front and just hoping for the best, hoping that the ball's going to pop down to one of your players and that it'll ultimately end up in the net. That's kind of long ball, hoof and hope football.
That's a nice alliteration there. Just a disclaimer. It's possible that Stoke City don't play like that anymore. I don't actually know because I don't follow the Championship that much. They're in the second division in England, which is called the Championship. So it might not be like that anymore. I don't know. But in the past, it definitely used to be like that. A cold night. What was it? There was a phrase. A cold Saturday night in Stoke City or something like that. There used to be a phrase. Okay. Nobody wanted to go to Stoke City to play that game on a cold Saturday night, or was it Sunday? I don't know.
Okay.
In Stoke City.
Yeah. I see. Okay, but anyway, we're talking about kind of the high press, which is a very common sort of strategy for a lot of teams, and I think probably the big teams, the really major teams, apply this form of football to their games. And it essentially means, as you said, holding possession, and possession is key. So if you lose possession of the ball, even when you're way up deep into your opponent's half, maybe even around their penalty area, you lose possession there, the team instantly goes into a sort of super aggressive a mode where they desperately try to win possession again. So that means tackling and almost defending deep into the opponent's half in order to win possession and win little opportunities.
And when you are without the ball, the issue is, which would happen to our team as well, the issue is that you're running out of energy faster
because you're chasing.
So, because you have to do a lot of chasing. It's you're losing energy more without the ball. If you're on the ball, right, you can conserve the energy more. And I don't know what it is. It's also something to do with psychology probably, but it really is a thing.
Yeah. So that's interesting though. I think it's entertaining to watch because you get, there's never a dull moment when teams are playing this form of high pressure possession-based football, I think, unless you're watching England.
Absolutely. And then there is also counter-pressing, right? Or what is it called? Like gegenpress. I think like when you lose the ball, you immediately press again, right? So it's like a different sort of thing.
Yeah, because in the past, what would happen is, like, if you watch old matches, reruns of games from the 80s or even 90s or something like that, a team would lose possession. They'd have an attempt on the goal or something. They'd lose possession, let's say around about the penalty area of the opposing team. And that opposing team would pick up the ball, and then there would be a whole stretch as the team advances towards your penalty box where they're not being challenged. Tackles are not really being made until they get into a dangerous position attacking your goal. And there's a lot of space and a lot of, teams were given a lot of time and space. But these days, yes, they are tackling as if the team is way up into the your half.
Closing them down, basically. Not necessarily tackling, but you close down the players. You don't give them any space. You give them no options, so then they are forced to make a mistake or kick the ball out of play or something, right?
Yeah.
And they often get dispossessed, lose the ball, and that's very dangerous because, of course, that team that loses the ball like that, they are not prepared. There's a nice chance for a fast break or just to use this as an opportunity to score.
Yes, right. So a very sort of disruptive form of football where you just instantly try to disrupt the other team's flow and their possession, and opportunities arise. And it makes sense when you think about it. If you challenge the team when they've got the ball just outside their penalty area and you gain possession there, you're instantly in a position to score. But it does, of course, favour teams with players who have a lot of technical ability, and it's risky as well because
it is.
You're stretching yourself when you're deep into the opponent's half. The team is stretched out, and there is a lot of space for the other team to capitalize on. But only if they have possession. If you deny them possession, you can be overstretched like that, and it's sort of in a way, it's kind of like the offense is the greatest form of defense saying. That basically having an attacking, aggressive approach is the best form of defense, rather than sitting back and letting the other team come towards you and crowding your penalty area. You kind of take a different approach. Yeah.
And this is the thing I noticed in this World Cup, that you still have a few defensive teams that go into a low block. You still have that because it's this pragmatic approach, which sometimes works, right? Sometimes you frustrate your opponent. I think it happened to England in the game against Ghana, for instance. It does happen. Then you have Scotland, who tried to play in this way. But to be fair, I think there is less of it these days. Even the teams, the lesser teams, you could say, in this World Cup, and now we've got 48 teams, they seem to want to play football more. It seems to be that trend.
I think this is good, generally.
Definitely. That's why I on the whole, I'm really enjoying this World Cup, despite the failure of the Czech team. I have to say, it's been a really fascinating watch.
Yes, and lots of goals. There have been so many goals. Obviously, more teams, more games means more goals, and also when you get lower level teams in the World Cup, then of course you're going to see more goals being scored against them. You'd think, and it seems unfair to those weaker teams, but actually it's the smaller, weaker teams that have perhaps been enjoying things the most. When you see little teams who are just delighted to score a goal, or to force one of the top teams to a draw. It was Spain versus, who was it? Cape Verde?
Cape Verde, yeah, Cape Verde.
Was it a 0-0 draw? Is that right?
It was a 0-0 draw. It was their opening game, and the goalkeeper of Cape Verde became an overnight sensation, gaining 5 million or 6 million subscribers on Instagram or something.
Right. So in a way,
I think his name was Vozinha, right? Vozinha.
I don't know actually. I haven't been on social media, Instagram, and normally I would be on different social medias,
It's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
40 years old, by the way, this goalkeeper.
40 years old. Wow, that's great. So this is great, obviously. Shall we talk about the format then of the World Cup this year, and the pros and cons, the good things, the not so good things, and maybe some of the changes that have been introduced. So 48 teams, I mean, that is massive. That is absolutely massive. And I'm sure everyone who's been trying to keep up with the World Cup has had a similar experience, which is that it's really hard to know what's going on. And I keep going to the summary pages to look at the group standings, to look at the results and stuff. And I'm struggling to kind of contain it all in my head.
Do you watch the highlights, Luke, at least? Or
so I'm going. So I like the fact that FIFA are publishing videos with highlights and stuff, and also you can catch some stuff that people upload onto YouTube, and also BBC iPlayer, they have some good highlight videos. So as much as I can, I watch the highlights, or at least look at the goals, although they don't tell the full story of each game. But I do my best, and I watch videos and try to listen to some podcast episodes, like the Guardian Football Weekly podcast is really good value, and there are some others. So I do try my best to keep up with everything, but it's been very hard. I think as we get further and further through the knockout stages, I think the World Cup is really going to take off in a big way. And when we get into the round of 16 and then beyond that, I think we're going to see a really exciting, intense competition where suddenly we're all on top of it. We know which teams are left. And, when we're able to actually understand really what's happening, it's a bit smaller. I think it's going to really kick in. The World Cup fever is really going to get started at that point.
There was a lot of criticism regarding this format expansion, right? So it's now 48 teams. I think it was 32 before, even the World Cup in Qatar, and the previous one, I think it was only 30. I might be wrong, but now it's 48. Yeah. It has never been this many. And they are even thinking about making it 64 FIFA, right? It's like it's all it comes down to money. They're milking the cow, Infantino, corruption. It's crazy.
Right.
Crazy. We don't want to get into that too much, but it's definitely, there are a lot of intentions, and it's not only about football, and they are not doing it only for football fans.
I feel like it's in a way, it's football is a bit like Star Wars in a way. If you'll let me continue this analogy, what I mean is that the studio that runs Star Wars these days it's Disney, a massive corporation, of course, right? And they know that with Star Wars they have a massive cash cow that basically, or this is certainly the way they approached it in the last 5 or 10 years, right? That they've thought, right, so fans just love Star Wars and they will pay ticket money to see, it seems, anything with the Star Wars name that's been given to it, that people will just hand over their cash. People are just, when it comes to Star Wars, people are just brainless, and they will just give me, take my money. If it's Star Wars, take my money. And so they just pump out as whatever they pump out a lot of rubbish, basically, and people will pay for it. I mean, they've learned that doesn't quite work, but these days, and so they've had to take a different approach. But it's kind of a similar thing with FIFA. They're like, well, the football is a huge cash cow. People love the World Cup, and people will pay money. It's going to make money, whatever it is. So why not just make more of it? Let's just have more games, more football, and that means more money, basically, right? And luckily for us, it's kind of working. I mean, they're squeezing the lemon, right? They're squeezing the juice out of the lemon, and thankfully the lemon does have a lot of juice in it. But you can imagine a point where they will squeeze football beyond the point of no return, where they'll produce a World Cup that just is where the negatives outweigh the positives. I think there are enough positives to keep this interesting, but they're it's borderline, isn't it?
I agree. It's interesting that I think you pointed out that I think one of your points was that with so many teams, basically it would water down the quality, right? Because you would have more of those underdog teams or more of those lesser teams. Is that something I noticed?
Yeah,
you're pointing out.
That's one potential flaw, is that like having all the, opening it up to so many other teams, that it's going to reduce the quality of the football.
So that's what I wanted to respond to, because I think that was everyone's sort of expectation, and that's what everyone thought would happen. To be frank, from what I have seen, I actually feel like the gap between those teams and the big teams has been reducing, and we have seen enough evidence of that in this World Cup already. Just look at okay, we mentioned Cape Verde, Curacao, I think got a draw as well in one game. Then you could say like the Asian teams, they played good football. Then you have 9 out of 10 African teams making it into the playoff, into the knockout stages. 9 out of 10. So I think it was just bar Algeria, I believe. Everyone is qualified from Africa. So, but do you know what? So there's one thing we could also mention. It's interesting that there are a lot of players that are playing for these countries that were not even born in those countries. Did you know that? Do you know which country tops is the country that produced most players in this World Cup? In a sense that these players were born in this country, but they are not playing for that country even.
I could imagine it would be like I don't know. It's pretty complicated, isn't it, this? Because now we get into questions of nationality and how do you decide, whether someone qualifies to play for a team. Which country has produced?
Which country has the most players in this World Cup, basically?
It's probably an African nation, I would say. I'm wondering, would it be an African? It's
not. It shouldn't be too hard for you. You are in that country. You are in that country right now. Yes.
I was thinking of France, but So players that were born in France, because I get okay, I understand. I know what you're getting at. So you're saying a lot of players were born in France, but they're not playing for France.
99
players.
I think it includes the French national team as well, but 99 players born in France.
Because I guess there are some players who I imagine, are playing for the French team who potentially weren't born in France, but for one reason or another, I don't know how it works.
I think it's less likely, but it's possible. I don't know. But the reason for this is obviously because you've got a lot of amazing academies in these top leagues, right, in Europe.
Yeah.
And they produce so many players, and they will not have a chance to play for the French team because there's so much competition to get into that first team. It's almost impossible. So at some point, these players make a very, in my opinion, shrewd or wise decision to play for a different team. And they can do that because one of their parents, or sometimes it's a grandma, grandpa, or great-great-great-grandfather used to has roots in that country. So that's how it happens, and it's allowed. And the question is, should it be allowed? Personally, I'm okay with it, but some people are like not very happy about it. I don't know.
Well, how does someone qualify? How is someone legally allowed to have a passport from a nation? I mean, that's what this is all about, isn't it? And again, this is a peripheral issue that we're starting to get into, is the question of immigration and national identity, and how do you qualify? How do you actually get a passport of that country? But even if you weren't born there, it's a very complicated issue, and I can understand how people have strong feelings about it. But it's certainly interesting, though. It gives you a sense of what the world is like today. Some people get very. Some people, it's globalized, and there are large sort of anti-globalism movements.
Yep,
a lot of strong feelings about this. But I guess when people look at the French national team, one of the criticisms, unfortunately, is that they look at the team and think, well, how many of these players are really French? But I mean,
you mean like white?
Well, yeah, but that's what they mean. I mean,
but you have a lot of people that are saying exactly the same. They would probably support an unknown British politician with the surname Farage, and they will say exactly the same. But
the thing is that they don't understand how citizenship actually works. It's not just the color of your skin. There are many more complicated reasons than that, that tell stories of colonialism and things like that. And, we probably shouldn't get into it. But it's interesting, though, that actually it's the other way round, that in fact France is producing great footballers because there's great footballing infrastructure in this country, and it's probably the same in Spain as well, I would imagine. There's great footballing infrastructure, and so people who are born here but they've got roots in other countries are choosing to play for those countries instead. And this doesn't hurt France, because France has got a huge pool of players who could play for the country. Mm-hmm. This is not hurting France. No. In fact, it's the opposite. This is a huge strength for France. And in fact, in a way, it's helping other countries too, because countries like Senegal, maybe Morocco or Algeria, countries like that, are able to benefit from this as well. And what actually happens is that we get to watch better football at the end result, is that the quality of football in the world goes up.
And England is about to face one of such countries that have a lot of players that were not born there. Congo.
Democratic Republic of Congo,
Congo. Yeah,
DR Congo, as everyone is calling it.
So, for instance, there is a player, Vissa. He is English.
Oh yeah. Hello, quick interruption. A little bit of fact checking is necessary here. Since recording this, Zdenek got in touch with me to say that in fact Wissa was not actually born in England. He was born, where? Of course, it's France. Yes, another French-born player in this competition, but not England, actually France. Yes, so that's just a little bit of fact-checking from me, Luke, in the future here. Very close to midnight on Tuesday, the 30th of June. I'm trying to get this episode published. Currently, France versus Sweden is 0-0, and they're having their first hydration break. Norway beat the Ivory Coast 2-1. Earlier today, so that's just what's happening right now, but hopefully all of this stuff that we've been saying isn't completely out of date, although of course things are changing all the time, every day. But nevertheless, I hope you're enjoying this episode. Let's get back into it. And here we go. Okay, but does he not have dual citizenship? Doesn't he have a Congolese passport as well as an English one? Like, look at my kids, for example. Yeah. My kids are, they were both born in France, but they are 100% French and 100% English, and I think that's possible. They will be able
to choose their national team.
Well, no, they wouldn't choose. It's England. I mean,
is that what your wife says, Luke?
But do you know what I mean? That it's the same thing for my kids. That I think it's possible for people I think that we should allow people to have two passports. Why should we limit it? Because my kids, I think that although they were born here and they go to school here and stuff like that, I think they also strongly feel that they identify as English as well. Yeah. As my daughter wears an England shirt. She goes to school in an England shirt. I'm so proud, of course. But she loves France. She supports. Yeah, I'm okay with it too. I think that if that's all right, then I don't understand why this isn't possible for everyone else. This is how citizenship works. And to try to impose some sort of overly simplistic way of looking at it, was like, but they're French or but they're English. Well, they're not, are they?
You have to ask the question, okay, what makes you English? Is it just the color of your skin, your hair?
No, of course it's not. Of course it's not.
Just that, right?
There's a wide number of criteria, like a wide variety of criteria that go together. It's a complicated thing. This is the point.
But on the same topic, Luke, the team of Curacao only have one player who was born in Curacao.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of like a Dutch colony. I actually had recently Leontes is also an English teacher with a YouTube channel. I have had him on my podcast, and his parents are from Curacao. So we spoke about this fascinating team, and it's like, how many inhabitants does this is like an island, right, in the Caribbean, and it's like a Dutch colony basically, but they have some level of autonomy as well there, and so most of the players, or almost all of them, are from the Netherlands.
I think it is an interesting sort of stat that you just gave us there, a bit of data that France has actually produced the highest number of players in this World Cup, most of whom aren't actually playing for France. But I could do a whole episode about the citizenship process and what is actually involved in citizenship, and I think it would be worth doing, because it's not just a simple case of where you were born.
I guarantee you that when England plays, because they are so nationalistic, like they're always waving the flag and all that, right? Yeah. I guarantee you, when England play and someone like Bukayo Saka scores, they will celebrate that goal. I guarantee you that.
Of course they will. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of, what's the word for it? Cognitive dissonance in this. But for me, I'm just like, well, I have a certain amount of faith in the complex citizenship process, and I think that, as far as I'm concerned, Saka has every right to play for England, and I'm very glad that he does, because he's brilliant.
He's amazing, and he's amazing for Arsenal too. We love him.
Yeah. No, he's great. All right, so there's that. So large pool of teams, 48 teams, has its pros and cons. The pros are that we've described them. The cons are it's just hard to keep up with it all. Also, the fact that it's in Mexico, United States, and Canada means the time zone is complicated for a lot of us.
And when you're thinking of the hosts, who is going to host? You need a country that is rich, that has a lot of stadiums, or is able to build a lot of stadiums. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Qatar, right? They have a lot of oil money, so they can do that. So what's going to happen in the future? Well, it will be hosted. These World Cups will be hosted by Saudi Arabia, which is already happening, by Qatar. Not necessarily the most traditional countries, because those will not have enough money to build the stadiums or to host so many fans, and countries, naturally, because this is just way too many. This is one little issue. Or it will have to be hosted by a lot of different countries, not just 3. But we even saw that with the latest Euros. It was like hosted in the entire Europe or something.
Games were played across Europe, but the official host nation, was it Germany and Switzerland? I can't remember actually.
It might be the one before. I don't. It might be. Yeah. I may be referring to the one that happened during COVID. I'm sorry, but yeah.
But certainly, what's coming up in the next World Cup is like even more of this trend. This trend is continuing even more obviously, where the World Cup's going to take place over a huge region, which includes several continents as well. It's Spain, it's Morocco. I can't remember all the other.
Yeah,
Portugal.
Right. Portugal. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just fascinating. The way that FIFA is able to kind of supersede these international borders. And, obviously the argument in favor of this is that they're spreading football to other nations around the world, like spreading football into the Middle East. And if you think of it in those terms, then that's good, that it's sort of allowing non-footballing nations to build the culture of football. So that's good. But then obviously, yes, there's under the surface.
They are choosing the rich countries. They're choosing the rich. Is that really fair? Like, if you want to spread it everywhere, shouldn't you be like sort of giving the opportunity to, I don't know, to why is it never going to be in India or China? I don't know. I'm not advocating for that. I'm just saying it's strange that it's going to always be like someone like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, these the richest. Makes me be a little bit cynical about it, to be fair.
Of course, there's politics. And of course, there's a lot of money changing hands. Everyone knows this. But again, I go back to my Star Wars analogy. We just want to watch. We just like Star Wars. We like lightsabers, and we like the noises that the blasters make, and we like the spaceships and stuff. And it's like, if there's that, then we're going to watch it. Similarly with football, we just want to watch these great teams, these great stars. We want to be part of. We want to see these historic moments. There's just something amazing about watching two big teams play each other, and it's like what's Lionel Messi going to do? What history is going to be made? Is Ronaldo going to actually score?
That's all it's about, really. Is he going to score? That's nothing else to it.
Yeah.
As long as the ball is still around, and it's not going to turn into American football, I'm okay with it.
Well, it's nearly. I mean, let's talk about some of the changes that have been made to the way that the games are being played. And I mean, it's extraordinary when you think about it, the fact that essentially what we're watching now is football being played in 4 parts. I mean, the idea, if we'd been told earlier, they've managed to sneak this in, the hydration breaks I'm talking about, quote, hydration breaks. And there was a hydration break was it England versus Panama, right? England versus Panama, the recent game, England's third game in the group stage that we thankfully actually managed to win. Apologies to commiserations to Panama, but the game was played in pouring torrential rain. It rained the entire match, and they had to stop for a hydration break.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Are you kidding?
The players were so dehydrated. They really needed some liquid. Their bodies needed so much liquid. Right? Made sense. Made total sense to me.
And there was another one, which was, I can't remember which game it was. It might have been Ghana. It might have been Ghana, England. Was it France? It was
France involved, and they had to interrupt the game because of some storms.
Oh, there was that, and the halftime break lasted several hours, I believe.
3 hours or something,
Yeah. I mean, I can understand that, having to like delay the second half because there were electrical storms. I can understand doing that. But there was one match, and I can't remember, forgive me, I can't remember which one it was, where so there was an injury around about 20 minutes into the game, or around about the middle of whichever half it was, there was an injury. And the player had to be brought off the pitch, and the game kind of like stopped for a while as this injury was being dealt with. And then 2 minutes later, they stopped for a hydration break. And during this injury, while that was all taking place, the teams were huddling around their managers. Both teams were grouped around their managers. The managers were giving pep talks to the team during the injury break. And then 2 minutes later, hydration break. And, they'd already hydrated. They'd already had their chat with their manager, which is not, by the way, not supposed to happen. They're not supposed to. Yeah.
So just to explain, I think our listeners your listeners have detected a lot of sarcasm there from us. Basically, what we are being sarcastic about here is the fact that they have introduced these hydration breaks, which are in the middle of the half always. But in fact, it's the main reason was because they needed to have commercials on TV. They needed like 3 minutes. Like the players, they don't really need hydration breaks. And even if they did need hydration breaks, it would be enough to do it in 30 seconds or 1 minute. And to be fair, it even disrupts the flow of the game and the momentum. The teams lose momentum. It's just, it goes against football. It's not how football should be played. It's not football is not basketball.
Right.
So they only did it just again because of money. Because the people will pay for the ads. The companies will pay for the ads, right? And then it will create more revenue. That's the only reason they did it.
And just maybe culture as well. But I mean, it's culture because of money again, commercial culture. In the United States especially, maybe Canada and Mexico as well. I don't know really. I'm not so familiar with their TV culture or entertainment culture. But the idea that in the US, if you had 45 minutes of entertainment without a commercial break is unthinkable. 45 minutes of anything without a commercial break, is just unthinkable. You listen to the radio in the States, you listen to American podcasts, they are broken up every, however many minutes with long commercial breaks.
Right. But what pisses people off the most, in my opinion, is the fact that they call it hydration breaks. Because I know, for example, they introduced the same in ice hockey, right? It's very popular in the US and Canada as well. And they started calling it, and the Czech Republic, and they started calling it commercial breaks, and everybody knew. But in this case, they call it hydration breaks, as if they think we are stupid or something. It's like, we're not that stupid, right? We all know that this you didn't do it just for the players to keep themselves hydrated. We all know that wasn't the main reason.
Yeah, and if that's the reason why they're doing it, then why are you having a hydration break on the rainiest, during the rainiest football game ever? Obviously, the players can't drink rain, Well, so I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's a way for them to sneak in the commercial breaks into it. But it's just extraordinary that the US, in particular, I think, has actually managed to make that change. When it was first, when I first heard about that, I thought it was a joke. Like, did you know that they're going to introduce breaks in the middle of each half? I'm like, you've got to be joking. There's no way. There's no way that the US is going to do that. The world, the football-loving world, will not stand for it. They can't just do that to football. But, they did.
They did it. Yeah.
They did it. They did it. Everyone knows it's completely ridiculous. And in a way, a kind of violation of the game that we love.
Sometimes, some people could point out, well, you are too traditionalist. That happens to us, the football fans as well. We love the sport, right? We have grown up with certain rules, and sometimes things change. There used to be times when you would award a team for winning a game 2 points. You would award 2 points to a team. I don't know if you still remember that.
Instead of three, it was 2 instead of 3.
Yeah. So that's a massive change. So over time, there will be changes, right? But we are very romantic as well. We are sort of traditionalists as well, right? And we don't want our beautiful game to be tweaked like that. And especially if we know it's for these cynical reasons, right?
Yeah.
It's just to fill someone's pocket. Probably someone like Donald Trump or Elon Musk.
Of course. But it's not just being change averse. It's not just being like really sort of small-minded and not wanting any single change to be made, because certain changes are introduced which definitely help the game and improve the game. I don't know if stopping the game in the middle of each half is helping, because it certainly extends the game. Some of these games are going on forever. Another reason why some of them are even longer than the average episode of my podcast. I mean, it's ridiculous.
That's quite telling.
I mean, Maybe what people could do is they could listen to the pod, just pick a podcast episode, and listen to it during a game, and see which one it finishes first.
Or you could also introduce hydration breaks. How about that, Luke?
I do. I've been doing hydration breaks. Anyway,
let's have one now.
Yeah, we should have one now. Okay. Oh, this hydration break is sponsored by Cheers Disney Plus, the home of Star Wars. Yeah, right. Other streaming platforms are available, of course.
Hopefully, you also get paid for that.
I'm not getting paid for that Disney Plus plug that I just gave.
You should.
Damn it! Why did I do that, Zdenek?
You're practicing. It's going to happen. You're practicing for it.
I don't know. Would I accept sponsorship from Disney Plus? I don't know. I mean, I probably should. Anyway, but other changes to the game. There have been other changes which I think have helped. Should we talk about some of those?
And you spoke about a lot of this stuff in your pre-World Cup ramble. I think you called it, right? And so the anti-time wasting rules, I think, have been working wonders, in my opinion.
What are they?
I think it's like a package. One of them is that the goalkeeper cannot hold the ball for too long, and they will basically, the ref will start counting down on the they will use fingers, right, on their hand to count down.
Right.
And they have actually been, so one thing is to introduce these rules, but another thing is to enforce them, right?
Yes.
And so the referees, they actually have to do it, because sometimes we have seen in the past that they made some new rules and the refs, like they were not consistent enough. But it seems like they have really, really implementing those rules, and it's been working. And it feels like the teams are scared to time waste, and it improves the quality of football. So it's not only the goalkeeper, it's also the throw-in. So once you pick up the ball, you have to throw the ball within 5 seconds or something. The consistency is not always there, but most of the time the refs will start counting down. It speeds up the game, because to be honest, there's a lot of downtime. There has been a lot of downtime with this, and teams have been using it a lot as tactics, right? So if you're 1-0 up, or if there's a tie in the game and you're playing against a stronger opponent, you want to disrupt the game as much as possible. Slow the game down, just to disrupt the team that has a lot of possession, like get them out of their rhythm, right?
Yeah.
And these rule changes have been working really well.
Because I mean, the sort of borderline cheating, which we're talking about, which these rules have tried to eliminate, borderline cheating, or we could call it gamesmanship, which is different to sportsmanship. Sportsmanship is about being fair and honest and stuff,
And then there's also shithousery.
Great. So yeah, sportsmanship is what we want. That's where players are act like gentlemen, or in women's football, it's not gentlemen, of course, but basically it's about people people acting in good faith, people being honest and so on. That's sportsmanship, and that's what we want. Gamesmanship is kind of like maybe breaking the rules or doing things that potentially are not within the general rules of the game, even informal rules, and just kind of like, we're talking about diving, we're talking about kind of fouling.
Not scuba diving, just to make it clear.
No. Well, that's not within the culture of the game either. I mean, submerging yourself underwater. Although if you want hydration, that's another way to achieve it. But but I'm talking about things like diving, or as you said, time wasting. For example, the goalkeeper has to take a goal kick, and he just takes all the time in the world to line up to place the ball and then decide where he's going to kick it, and it just takes so long.
And in the past, you would receive a yellow card at most. Maybe before the yellow card, the ref would give you 2 warnings or something, right? So it would have been a yellow card. But now, when this happens and they blow the whistle, it might be a yellow card, but also the opposition team have a corner, have a corner kick now.
Right. Okay.
So that's interesting, isn't it?
That is good. And the effect that we've seen is that it does actually reduce these sorts of time wasting behaviors, which is great, because I you've heard me say in the past that I love football, but I hate the way that some of the players behave on the pitch. And I'm talking about diving. Shithousery. Let's talk about that. I did mention it in the first rambling episode, but shithousery, obviously it's got the word shit in it, which is a rude word in English, of course, but shithousery is this informal word that we use to describe the generally shitty behavior of players at their worst. And all the dishonesty, the diving, the cheating, time wasting,
provoking before the penalty shootout, like there's a goalkeeper trying to do something to disrupt the mental state of a player or something. You know?
Or one player stamps on the foot of another player, and that player legitimately goes down with a lot of pain in their foot. Meanwhile, the one who stamped on the foot of the other player also falls to the floor, clutching their face with their hands, and the referee's got no idea what's happened. And it's all designed to kind of put off the referee and whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's less of this happening also because we now have VAR, right? We have had VAR for a while.
Yeah.
And that has eliminated some of that stuff. And I think also the referees in this World Cup, they are really letting the flow of the game. Really, it's better now. They're not necessarily blowing the whistle after every single tackle or challenge or someone holding their head. It's really like I can see a lot of positive trends in this World Cup. I hope they get implemented in the European leagues as well.
Yes. So those are changes that have been made, which are good. So it's not that we're against changes to football, but what we are interested in is changes that improve or maintain the quality of the game. And so
Absolutely.
These are interesting changes. Have there been any other changes that are worth mentioning? Yeah.
Well, I would like to also mention ref cams, because actually I had a lesson with my Italian student yesterday.
Oh dear, sorry, Italian
Michele,
people.
I know. I had to mention Michele. We talk about football all the time, and he told me that he hates the ref cam. I was surprised. So I said,
Really?
I don't mind it too much. But how do you feel about the fact that now you have this view from a referee? Like when they usually show it like once or twice every game, especially when there is a goal. So how do you feel about that?
I love the ref cam. Absolutely love it. I don't know what your student, is it Michele? I don't know what
Michele.
I don't know what their problem is with it. I mean, maybe from a cinematic point of view, it's not great because it's quite shaky. The footage you get is quite shaky, which makes it a little difficult to watch. But I love the ref cam because you get this unique perspective. You actually see things on the pitch from the referee's perspective. And first of all, it gives you a totally different perspective of, let's say, a goal or a tackle that you don't get from the traditional cameras. So you're seeing things from the actual pitch surface. And perspective is a wonderful thing, you know, when you see what it's like on the pitch itself. For example, when you see a goal being scored from the pitch, it's always a lot more impressive. You can really see the skill of when you're standing next to a player who's curled the ball from outside the penalty box around some defenders into the top corner. That goal is even more amazing. A bit like that very famous Roberto Carlos goal. I'm going back many, many years now. But when Roberto Carlos scored that extraordinary free kick, there was a video angle, there was a camera angle that was, I don't know how they shot it, maybe a long distance lens from way back behind the other goal or something like that, where we saw him from behind kicking the ball, and you could see the way it swung out and back out, and you know the way it
defied the laws of physics. He basically bent it with the outside of his foot.
Yeah,
and nobody had ever seen anything like that before. It's just one of the most iconic goals in the entire history of football.
It corkscrewed, didn't it, out and in and sort of round it. It was incredible, but that camera angle allowed us to see the genius of that kick from a different angle, from the traditional side view. it would have been impressive because it was obviously such an incredible strike and covered a lot of distance. But seeing it from that different, almost pitch level perspective allowed us to see the skill on display. And so I think the ref cam gives us a glimpse up close of the incredible talent, but also just it's just interesting to see it from the ref's point of view.
For me, it's not a deal breaker, to be honest. I would be okay if it didn't exist, to be fair, but it doesn't insult me. It's fine.
I don't really know why it would have been insulting. Another I think potential advantage of this is that it should make people more respectful to the referees, and that's another thing that I've got a problem with in football, the way that people treat the referees. And you don't get that in sports like rugby or cricket.
That's true.
Two games that I also love, and especially in rugby, the players are so respectful of the referee that it's just a beautiful thing to see. The way that the players respect the rules is great. I mean, this may be cultural. There are probably people listening to this who feel like those moments that we're calling kind of gamesmanship that we don't like, that they will see that as, sorry, my phone's ringing.
Probably the Infantino calling you.
Stop. So yeah, there may be some people listening who feel like those things that we don't like are actually part of the game and are exciting parts of the game, and maybe I can mention, the famous Maradona hand of God incident. And for the Argentinians, obviously it meant that the team won Argentina won the game. But also, to an extent, for Maradona, let's say, that's kind of part of the game, that if you can get away with it, if you can score with your hand and get away with it, then that makes you even more talented and brilliant. That was brilliant, that goal that Maradona scored against England in 1986. In a way, obviously I'm not happy about it, but in a way I can see why it's become legendary, because it was pretty well done. The way his hand came up, and you could only see it was a handball from a certain angle. From the referee's point of view, it looked like it came off his head, and that's almost like sleight of hand magic from him. Like a magician doing a card trick would have a similar level of skill. So it was impressive. There's no doubt about it. And of course, he made up for it by then scoring a legitimate goal that no one could argue with ever.
The best goal of all time.
The goal of the century or something like that. Probably. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that point is just that, these little moments of cheating that we don't like, for some other people, that might actually be part of the game and whatever. But I think that generally speaking, it's true that trying to eradicate that kind of thing from the game and just allowing people to play football and only football, that this is surely a good thing, I would say.
Personally, I don't enjoy if I win, whether it's, I like board games, for example. If I win in a board game, and I couldn't enjoy winning if I cheated. So it's like fair play. Like but as you said, different people can perceive it differently.
Where are the parameters of the game? If the parameters of the game are only within what's been written in the book, and then there are other parameters, let's say in a game of street football where there are no rules, then in a way, you could argue that someone who's very good in that context is using every possible advantage that they can have, and that is, in a sense, is still a victory. They just
call it creativity, right? They get away with it, basically, and that's just impressive in its own way. Yeah. But not for me, Luke. Not for me.
Not for me either.
Fair play.
Me too. I'm just playing devil's advocate there by saying those things, but I agree. I think that ultimately I want fair play as well.
Yeah, same.
But the ref cam will stop players, running up to the referee and harassing the referee and swearing at the referee, perhaps, or that kind of behavior that we've seen that I think most people will agree is not really acceptable. I think ref cam is probably going to stop that, because there will be video footage of that sort of low-level abuse of the referee.
I don't know, but I think my student Miguel, he also pointed out that the ref now has so much equipment on him, right? Or her, if it's a woman, because we have had some female referees and they have been great.
Yeah.
By the way, they have been
Absolutely.
great in this World Cup. One of them in the Czechia South Africa game, for instance.
Yeah.
But so the refs, they have like, what do they have? They have a microphone, right, to communicate with the assistants. They have the cards. They now have a spray as well, right?
I love the
so
spray.
They are like a Swiss Army knife of a referee.
Yeah. I mean, at what point will we have AI robots as referees? Maybe one day. But there's a lot of pressure on referees. I think it's incredibly tough to be a referee. My dad actually qualified as a referee. He
really?
took some course years ago, and he used to be a referee for amateur Sunday league football. So it's always interesting watching football with my dad, because he tends to support the referee and understands what the referee has to do, and he knows the rules pretty well. So, for example, he's very good at deciding whether something is a foul or not, or whether something's offside or penalty. I mean, offside, I think, is done. Like, there's no argument now with offside, because VAR has made it very clear.
Well, we have had a moment in the Iran game now where they scored, and I believe this goal would have make them progress in the tournament. As well, it was like in the final minutes of the game, and a lot of Iranian fans, especially online, they felt hard done by. Because later we have seen the VAR footage, and basically there is a confusion coming from the fact that the goalkeeper wasn't the last player. But that doesn't change the offside rule. The offside rule still applies, so it was an offside, like according to the rules. But a lot of people didn't like that. So, yeah.
I imagine that the number of debatable offside decisions has reduced, though.
Definitely.
They're rare.
I think the biggest issue right now in football is the handball rule, which is really confusing, because there are a lot of aspects to it, such as proximity and intensity, and was the hand in a natural position? Then you have to define what on earth the natural position is, because nobody knows until this day. And you have a lot of inconsistency in football, unfortunately, with the handball rule. And they have been trying to change it many times, and it's really tricky, the handball rule, especially when it comes to we are talking about the penalty handball, which results in a penalty, which obviously penalty is a huge moment in any game. So
absolutely, yeah. Zdenek, I think we should probably talk about teams and games now.
Let's go.
We talked about the bigger picture, maybe.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is getting long, this episode, but this is all right. I don't even need to mention it, do I? This is Luke's English podcast.
We're talking about football. Come on.
Yeah.
There's never enough football.
Even during a World Cup where there's 48 million teams. And all right, so we talked about Czechia. Obviously, England. We need to talk about England a little bit. I don't want to talk about them too long, because naturally, people out there in the world, I mean, some people like England, but not everyone does. We need to talk about the big teams. We need to talk about the big players. And any other moments. I'd like to mention each team if possible, but I don't know. Shall we deal with England? Should we just talk about England for a little bit?
Let's do it.
So, what do you think? Are England overrated, underrated? What do people think about England generally, do you think?
Is there another word which is in the middle? Underrated, overrated?
Just not rated. Just not rated.
Accurately rated, something like that. I don't know.
Well, I mean, England went into this as the third favourite, which I find quite amazing. But how do they decide that? I think it's probably on paper in terms of the, as per usual with England, we've got a number of players who are really, really good. You know, we've got Harry Kane, who is arguably the greatest out and out striker, although he hasn't proven it in the competition properly as you'd want him to this time. Arguably, he scored an important goal against Panama. But so on paper, we often come out quite good because we've got big players. But in terms of performance, it's a different story.
I would say historically, you have been mostly overrated, especially during the times of Frank Lampard and Steven Gerrard. Like, these were great footballers, but he never achieved anything. So the Beckham era.
Yeah. The golden generation, they call it.
There was a lot of overrating. And I think it comes down from the fact that everybody talks about football in the UK and in England. It's just such a loved sport. Like, people love it. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of people talking about it, TVs, journalists, media. So that's why it creates a lot of hype. And the fans get really excited, and I think it's okay. But this is what happens. I think it also puts a lot of pressure on the players, on the coach. But I would actually argue that recently you've been really great, because you reached two finals, two Euros finals, mm-hmm. right, under Gareth Southgate's rule, and generally there has been an upward trajectory with the results. Also, you've started to win some penalty shootouts somehow, I think, right? As well, it happened a few times, which is like you lifted the curse. And and yeah, you do have a few world-class players. And the first game you played against Croatia was, in my opinion, one of the best games of the entire group stage. I would say definitely in top 3. You won that game 4-2, especially in the second half. You were outstanding.
Yeah.
Really impressive. Then the second game, there was a bit of hiccup. Like, you played against Ghana, you drew 0-0. We spoke about it. They parked the bus against you, and you were not able to score. And even you could argue that in that game, Ghana should have had a penalty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
So
we got lucky. I think the thing about the Ghana game, as you say, Ghana, perhaps intelligently, their manager is a character, isn't he? And he's the manager of Ghana used to manage. He's been a manager of several top flight teams, and he made the conscious.
Carlos Queiroz.
Is this him? Yeah,
I think so.
Apologies, listeners, if you know exactly who this is and you have all of his personal history and professional history at your fingertips. Yeah. But anyway, he made the shrewd decision to, as you say, park the bus. Although that may be not entirely fair to say park the bus. So the listeners, if you don't know about this expression, I think you can probably work it out from context. Imagine a bus. Imagine taking the team bus and parking it in front of the goal. Essentially, this means taking your entire team and squishing them into the penalty area, so that
making it impossible to score because
it's incredibly crowded.
No space.
Exactly. There's no space. It's incredibly crowded, and as a result, the attacking team just can't get the ball through. And it may be possible to beat that approach, if you've got incredibly inventive and incredibly technically talented players who are able to thread the ball through. We do. What we've had in the
Kane, they are world-class players for me.
But we've always had this issue, and it was really clear during the Southgate era, certainly at the last big international tournament, that was the Euros, wasn't it? 2024. That we saw England holding possession, doing all this stuff, but with not a single drop of creativity to show for it. Maybe I'm being harsh because I've got expectations, but I just remember watching England at the last Euros and thinking, my God, we've got the ball, but we just don't know what to do with it. We've just got nothing, and you need that extra bit of flair. You look at Brazil, you look at Argentina, Spain, France. And these teams are bursting with like a inventiveness, talent,
and you have this talent from all positions. That's the thing, right? So that's the thing. Maybe there's a little bit of imbalance to the England team, but I still think you're one of the favorites of the tournament. But you're not in my top 3.
We've got weak points. We've got weaknesses. Weaknesses are that we are heavily reliant on one or two players, particularly Harry Kane. And if he gets injured, I don't know what we're going to do. I mean, we've got replacements, but Harry Kane is a great kind of strength.
All-round player. I love Harry Kane, and it's coming from an Arsenal fan. He used to play for Tottenham.
Yeah.
Arch rival of Arsenal. And oh my God, Harry Kane now playing for Bayern Munich in Germany, breaking all the records you can imagine. He even became the all-time top goal scorer of England now, surpassing Lineker.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, no, there's no question. The guy is one of the best players that's ever put on an England shirt.
Smart. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, he missed an absolute sitter against Ghana. Normally, he would have volleyed it and struck it just perfectly in. He was 6 yards out from the goal. How he stuck it over the bar, I don't know. But no, the guy's incredibly dangerous and a huge asset. And to an extent, the team in the attacking part of the team is built around him. Then we've also got Jude Bellingham, who is an incredibly hard worker, someone who makes life incredibly difficult for the teams that are playing against him, and the sort of person who is, disruptive, inventive, talented, strong.
Winning. For me, it's like this winning mentality, and how he's able to time his form. Impressive.
Yeah.
For this world guy, I hands down, an amazing player.
So they have obviously great strengths, those guys, but if there's an injury to one of them, then that's going to seriously hamper our chances. And it's not like France, who've got this incredible depth in their squad.
That is true.
England doesn't have the same level of depth in throughout the squad. So if we lose key players, we've got serious problems. And we've got a bit of that in defence, where is it our left back?
Right back position is now. Everybody's getting injured there. Kwanzaa and
we've had two injuries at the right back position.
Livramento and Kwanzaa, right?
Right. And so that's a problem, because who's going to play right back? And then you end up with his name is Spencer. Spence, right? Okay. So we've got holes in our defence, and if we get injuries or yellow cards and players can't play, then that's going to seriously weaken the team. And maybe I don't know, the kind of problem with England is that we lack a certain kind of overconfident sort of spirit in attack, where creativity seems to be a bit dull.
It seems like you're talking about the Czech Republic.
Yeah, maybe. But anyway,
yeah, and also we have to say, like, now there is an extra round in the knockout stages. We're starting with a round of 32, then round of 16, quarterfinal, semi-final, final. Too many games, and it's so easy. It's just, I think a lot of favorites are going to just get knocked out. We saw that happen yesterday. Germany are out, losing to Paraguay in the penalty shootout. Yeah, incredible result.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the Germans started so strong. Was it 7-1? They won against. You'll have to remind me. Curacao. Well, poor Curacao. Yeah. I mean, 7-1 against Curacao, but still netting 7 goals. I mean, it's good. Like, wow. Okay.
The Germans are good at doing that. In 2016, which was held in Brazil, they beat them 7-1.
The fact is that Germany did smash 7 goals past Brazil. Sorry to remind the Brazilian listeners yet again about that.
But I think they will be happy to know that they won their game yesterday against Japan, of all teams, the team that will be in your heart probably. Right?
No, I love Brazil. I absolutely love Brazil. I always have. I think everyone understands, that just the samba kind of vibe that they bring, and the history, and I love the kit, the classic yellow shirt, blue shorts, white socks. I always thought they were the coolest looking players, and so I'm always happy to see Brazil playing really great Brazilian football. But in that particular game, I was definitely rooting for Japan, because
they scored first.
Yeah,
they scored first.
I couldn't watch the game because I was driving. I was driving at the time. I couldn't watch it. I wanted to listen to it on the radio, but my son in the back of the car wouldn't let me. he just started complaining. I put the radio on, listening to it on Radio 5. And he said, Daddy, I don't like football. I don't like football. I don't like football. And I thought, I can't put up with this for 90 minutes because it was a long drive. I thought, maybe there's a chance if I put the football on, he'll like it. But he just wouldn't let me. And so, unfortunately, I couldn't listen to the game. But I was definitely supporting Japan because, we know that, I spent time there. And so I've got a soft spot for Japan. And yeah, they scored first, and for quite a long time they were in the lead. And I thought, this is extraordinary. The Japanese must be absolutely ecstatic at this point and so excited. The prospects of knocking out Brazil in the World Cup, unprecedented. But no, Brazil showed their class in the end and, didn't let Japan get away with it. But that would have been amazing. So shout out to my Japanese listeners for that exciting moment. Unfortunately taken away from you. But I don't think any Japanese person is going to have hard feelings against Brazil because, obviously they're a quality team and we always like watching them do their thing. But that was exciting. But Germany out and the Netherlands also out.
That was also a very sort of strong moment in that game because Cody Gakpo scored. And when he scored, he just went to the ground and covered his eyes and started crying because his wife had a miscarriage, and it happened during the World Cup. So that was a really strong moment when he scored. But they lost, right? They lost
to Morocco, penalties. But this is a great moment for Morocco.
Morocco, I watched the highlights, and they seem to be on top of them, though. They seem to have deserved this win. Morocco.
Are they not? They're the number one African team, aren't they? Morocco.
Well, in the last World Cup in Qatar, they got all the way to the semi-final.
Yeah,
and they have a great team. This one of the dark horses of this tournament again.
Sure.
For sure.
You know what, Zdenek, what I want to see, obviously I'd love to see England go all the way to the final, but I love England, but I also wouldn't be that upset if we don't win. I don't mind. We've won it once and stuff like that. It's fine. What would genuinely make me happy is to see a team that's never won the World Cup win the World Cup, as long as it's not the USA,
Imagine that. Imagine Donald Trump.
Just don't, please don't.
He has already got the FIFA Peace Prize, right? Imagine but we have to say at this point, Luke, that the hosts have been doing really great so far.
The host teams, yes, are succeeding.
All three of them.
Including Canada, which is a surprise.
Yeah. Mexico won their group with 9 points. The USA, 6 points. They lost their final game against Turkey, but that was a dead rubber game. They didn't need to win it. They just got 6 points in the end and progressed from the first place. And in their first game, it was one of the best games of the tournament as well. USA have impressed. The USA have impressed so far.
I know. Yeah, no, they. There was a time where football and the USA putting the two together was some sort of joke. The idea that the US could play football or even understood what it was.
They don't even call it football. They call it soccer.
Soccer. No, they don't call it soccer. They call it soccer.
Yes, soccer. Yeah, right.
I actually don't mind the word soccer. I've got no problem with that at all. I know that a lot of British people don't like it, or at least the world thinks that the Brits, or maybe the rest of the world too, don't like the word soccer. It's like, don't be ridiculous. It's football. You guys play football, but it's not football. It's hand egg, their version of football. But soccer, it's actually originally a British word because it comes from association football, which is the sort of formal word for the football that we know and love from the, in the Premiership. That's called association football compared to rugby football, for example, which is, a different type of football with a different, we know rugby is radically different, but there was a time when there were different types of football. You got association football and maybe Sunday league football or whatever, but association, the that part of the word association, that's the root of the nickname soccer. And so it's actually a British word. Soccer is a British word.
So even the word soccer is a British word. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Although, of course, the Americans use it these days. That's their normal word for the sport. And in the UK, football is the normal word for the sport. And if you go around calling it soccer, people are going to go like that. British people, will find it annoying if you call it soccer. But personally, I've got no problem with it. So I don't. Where were we?
And then Canada, they won their last 32 game. They scored in the dying minutes, or in the added time, against South Africa, winning 1-0. They have a coach, an American coach, Jesse Marsh.
Okay,
and he is like this Ted Lasso of football.
Really,
he's this amazing motivate. Ted Lasso is this famous American show.
Yeah,
it's about a football coach who comes to England. I think the team that he coaches is like a struggling team, Richmond or something. And it's like this American TV show set in the British football culture. It's really interesting. It's a very popular TV show.
Yeah. Everyone I haven't actually seen it, which people might find surprising because it's such a phenomenon, this show, and people keep talking to me about it. I don't know where to see it. Actually, I don't know which platform it's on. Maybe it's on Prime or something like that. But I must watch it. But yeah, an interesting sort of culture clash show about a kind of very American manager coming into the British sort of footballing context. Yeah,
mm-hmm. And exactly. I just wanted to say that Canada now have a coach, Jesse Marsh. He even was a coach of Leeds United at some point, and they are showing some images of him from the dressing room. And after this game that Canada won as well, they just rounded up in a circle, and he was like giving this motivational speech after this amazing victory, saying that you have now become legends in Canada. Like, it's just so American, like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the fact that this is like a huge thing to become a legend in Canada.
Well, Canada is not traditionally a really
footballing nation.
Footballing nation, is it? Like they play ice hockey mostly and stuff like that. And they're great as well.
No, absolutely.
They have something about them in this tournament. So I think, by the way, I think it's good. I know we don't want the USA to win it. I completely agree with you. But on the other hand, we have to say it's actually quite good that the host nation is doing well in the tournament, because that will increase the popularity of the whole tournament. So
yes, I'm kind of joking about the USA thing, but obviously you know what I mean. But I've got family in the States, and they would obviously be delighted, and that would be wonderful. Like, I've got cousins, little kids the same age as my kids, and they would be over the moon to be part of that. But we all know what I mean when I say that I don't want the USA to be the first. And
I think most of the world don't want that either, to be fair.
Yeah, it's just like it would encourage them too much. That's what I'm saying. It's like they don't need that. They don't need that level of encouragement right now. Just you just need a bit. Just chill out. Yeah. Especially with what the government is doing internationally right now, and that's a whole other kettle of fish that we probably shouldn't, or a can of worms that we shouldn't open. All I'll say is that I find it extraordinary. It's strange and extraordinary that Iran are competing in the World Cup. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be. I don't know what I'm saying, really, because there's also the thing about Iran is that it's a very complicated thing where the team, I've had comments from Iranian listeners who've told me that the team, they don't really support the team because the team represent the regime. It's super complicated, and a lot of Iranian people who don't live in Iran, who have left for whatever reason, actually love the US government right now because they see them as freeing the nation from a regime. Although that is also
white at all. I agree. They were showing some images of fans in the stands in the USA. And there's like two different types of flags, I think, or something, right? Because each of them is is connected with a different regime. I don't know enough about this, but the fact is that they have almost made it. They just needed one goal, and they almost made it. And they are now complaining a lot. Like their captain has been on record as to say like they are victims because they've made it hard for them. Because, for instance, a lot of their staff members were not allowed entry. They didn't get the visa into the USA. So we have to mention this, that there are problems like this as well in the World Cup. Yeah, which shouldn't like. That's another can of worms, Luke. Well, basically.
Should we talk about? Should we separate?
But it always is, right? Yes, just. Yeah.
Should we separate football and politics, or not? Because maybe by separating them, maybe we're doing a disservice to some people who need to be mentioned, or by saying that we are kind of turning a blind eye to major issues. But all I'm trying to say is that I just find it extraordinary that Iran, there's a team in the World Cup being hosted by a nation which is actually bombing them. I just find that just
unprecedented.
Wild. Yeah, it's so strange. Let's move away from England. We've done that. Right. So let's talk about some of the other teams. So France is I think still the favourite. What have you got to say?
That's what I wanted to talk about. So the bookkeepers are saying at the moment it's France and Argentina, the two biggest favorites, right?
Okay.
So you think it's France?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I think they have the best players, as you said, rightly pointed out. They have a lot of squad depth. Absolutely great players. Mbappe, Dembele, Olise. They have all seemed to time their form as well so well. Mbappe seems to be playing for the team. Yeah. He wasn't like that at Real Madrid. Now he's like, oh my God, he's just on fire, right?
I'm really enjoying watching Mbappe play.
Amazing.
And it is Mbappe. That's actually how it's supposed to be pronounced. It's not Mbappe, as some people say Mbappe, which I always think makes it sound like M is his initial, like Mbappe, like what's his name, Michael Bappe.
Right.
But as I do call him Michael Bappe sometimes, just for fun. My wife, is just not interested. Although actually she's enjoying the World Cup. Anyway, Mbappe, I'm really enjoying watching Mbappe because I feel like he's really on form and seems to be really enjoying himself. And totally. I mean that France scored 4 goals against Senegal, I think it was. Recently, again, I can't keep track, but anyway, he scored an incredible goal from something like 30 yards out, an absolute screamer. Dembele as well, I think in the same game scored basically the same.
He scored a hat-trick as well.
He scored the same goal 3 times. Did you notice from the right flank, sort of just on the edge of the box, slamming it with the inside of his left foot? It curled round and hit the inside side netting 3 times. He beat the goalkeeper with the same shot, more or less.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's so impressive. And yes, so the last final was Argentina France. It looks like these two teams are again the biggest favorites. In my opinion, there's a difference though, because if you look at the bracket at the knockout stage bracket of each of these two teams, it turns out that Argentina seemed to have an easier path to the final than France.
And some people, my wife actually always comments, she loves to entertain the conspiracy theory that the World Cup is rigged, and I don't know how it's possible to fix or rig a World Cup like this, but she always says, because she's read it online, that people say that that it's all a fix and that they're giving it to Messi. I don't know why they would want to give it to him.
That's up for debate. That's for sure. But I wouldn't say the brackets. I think it's given before the tournament. It's already given, right?
Okay.
Like, who is going to how they're going to pair up the teams?
Yeah,
I think it's given in the system. But we can talk about Messi. Yeah, there was a moment, obviously, in their in their opening game that Messi scored a hat-trick. Of course, he did that. Can't remember, was it Colombia? Can't remember what the opponent of Argentina in their opening game was. But what a performance from him. However, there was a moment when Messi should have probably received a red card because it was a red card offense, and the VAR just let him off. And everybody says, "Oh, it's because it's Messi."
Right. Well, this is the thing, I suppose, the problem with being a huge star like Messi, where you're bigger than anything. You know, you're just the biggest thing on the planet in footballing terms. This is the thing. It's going to work for you and against you. So when he does something like that, a tackle where essentially he appeared to stamp with his studs on the back of someone's leg.
It was very clear. It was a clear red.
He clearly, his studs came down on the back of the other player's leg. And was it intentional or not? I don't even know if intention has any. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It's just so obvious. Like, it was an obvious thing, and the referee didn't see it, which is fair enough. The referee doesn't. He might have a ref cam on, but he doesn't have to see everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a human. Is AI? We don't have AI referees yet. Look.
No,
so
thank goodness.
It can happen. It's only a human, right?
Yeah.
But VAR saw that and didn't overturn the decision. It wasn't considered a clear and obvious error for some reason.
So it went to VAR.
Of course
it was reviewed, and after being reviewed, I don't know exactly how it works. Do the VAR referees who
can overturn?
They can overturn a decision.
So there's a foul play as a red card offense. They can interfere at any point.
So there's the ref on the pitch who hasn't seen it. He goes to VAR. The guys in the studio, and there's like three of them, I think.
First, they communicate. So they have a microphone. They communicate. So before he goes to the he didn't even go to the screen, I think, because whenever the ref goes to the screen, it means the VAR disagrees with the ref, and in 99% of cases, the ref just goes to check it and says, "Okay, yeah, you're right. I made a mistake," and it's overturned the decision. So they were communicating it. They were definitely talking about it, but somehow Messi was let off, and
so we don't
speculating why it's Messi. Probably because it's Messi. The problem is, if it happens, okay, fair enough. But the problem is that you will have a similar offense in a different game, and a different player will be sent off for that. That's always the issue, right? There's inconsistency in these decisions. That's the problem.
And what people are suggesting is that because it's Messi, because he's untouchable, he gets away with it because he kind of the way he behaved immediately afterwards also, I think, helped him because he instantly apologized. He tried to downplay it. You know, his behavior, he's very clever in the way that he reacted, which can make a big difference. And it's he sort of almost signaled to the referee like, "Oh, it's no big deal." And because he's such an influential person, Messi, there seemed to be he wielded some level of sort of unconscious influence or bias over something. I don't know if the VAR referees said, "Yes, that's definitely a red card," but the referee on the pitch said, "Oh no, it's all right, it's fine," because he didn't want to deal with the fallout of sending Messi off the football pitch during a World Cup game. Who knows? But what I meant when I said this is a symptom of Messi being so huge is that maybe I can imagine that a mistake like that could be made with a less visible player, just any other player. You could imagine there'd be a mistake where the player does commit a clear red card offense but doesn't get sent off. That does happen. Injustices like that do happen. But because it's Messi, we instantly develop this theory that the referee is being lenient because it's Messi. So in a way, he does something wrong and gets away with it and we all criticize him for it or criticize the system. He does something right, and so it kind of works against him in any case. Either he has a free pass, or everyone's against him. It's kind of like I don't know which one it is really, whether it was an innocuous, erroneous choice, or whether clearly they gave him a free pass because he is the king of football. I don't know.
Exactly, Luke. And speaking of red card decisions, there have been two other moments I would like to mention. So the first one is in the opening game, Mexico against South Africa. The referee awarded 3 red cards, right?
Yeah.
But there was one which became quite viral. It went viral, and I think it's interesting for us English teachers too. Do you know what I'm referring to?
I do know what you're referring to. So there was a red card decision, but initially it wasn't a red card decision. So the referee on the pitch didn't give a red card. It was reviewed by VAR. I guess the video assistant referees or assistants communicated to the referee, actually, this is a red card. And then it was up to the referee to announce that his decision was overturned.
Which is new as well. This was introduced last year in the Premier League. So that's the first time in the World Cup as well.
What, the referee has a microphone?
The referee has to announce it because, oh my God, look. Imagine having... This was at the Aztec Stadium. 80,000 or 90,000 of people in Mexico City. Yeah? The most iconic stadium. That's where the Maradona... hand of God happened, by the way.
Yeah.
Imagine having to speak in front of so many people, oh my God, it's so stressful.
Yeah, so this referee is not a native English speaker. I'm not sure where he's from. He was Brazilian.
Sampaio, right. His name's Sampaio.
So here's this guy who spent his career developing his skills as a referee, and he's reached, the highest level he can get to as a professional referee. This is what he focuses his time and energy on, not learning English. And so far, he's been able to get by on basic limited English because you don't need sophisticated English to do the basic job of a referee. You can explain stuff to the players on the pitch in a kind of, simple form of English, and it gets the job done because the players don't really care if you're English. You're not there to, write an IELTS 7-point essay.
Generally, the refs, they know the terms, right? They know. They've used them many times. So
exactly.
You don't need to have perfect grammar for that.
Yeah. And then suddenly this referee is in a situation where not only does he have to tell the players on the pitch why he's reversing his decision and explain the reasons, but now he's mic'd up and he speaks through loudspeakers that the entire stadium can hear. So this is brand new. I didn't realize they started doing that in the Premiership. I thought this was another American thing.
And everyone on TV is watching that as well.
Yeah. So 90,000 people in the stadium plus millions and millions of other people watching at home live. And the guy has to make an announcement, a speech, a difficult one, because he's sending someone off in the opening game of the tournament after he's already sent, is it 1 or maybe 2 other players off? The pressure, sheer pressure of having to say, so the decision has been overturned because blah, blah, blah. I would probably stutter and stammer and fall over my words.
Yeah, he couldn't string a sentence together. That's what happened. He was, he went like, and then like they were showing the players, the South African player who this related to, they're showing his face. He looked like that, like completely... He's baffled by what on earth was. He couldn't understand a word what this referee was saying.
I'd love to give a version of this what this referee said. If I can add the clip in, I might, but I think it will get flagged for copyright or something because it's a very viral clip at the moment. But essentially, the referee just it's kind of like, let's say A2 level English, stammering and stuttering and very long. It was more than an It was like a malfunction.
Looking for the word. He cannot remember the. Like, imagine if we were in such high pressure situation, we'd probably be even worse. I would struggle, right? So imagine that, and then the whole world is looking at you, the player, and then the final words are decision, red card, and he says it in such a like, it's so animated the way he says it, like decision, red card, and after that, like everyone is, what on earth has just happened? Like, and it went viral, right? And then now you saw so many reels and TikTok videos of famous or maybe not even famous DJs turning this into music as well, like remixing it and creating some electronic music out of it. You should talk to your brother. Maybe he would. He could do the same.
Because for the referee, again, it's building up and up. He knows that he's got to send the guy off. He knows he's got to announce a red card, and he has to justify the reasons why. And as his sentences progress towards the red card announcement, he's getting more and more stressed, and it sort of goes, a VAR decision is the striker is committed foul against attacking defender. Pause.
Number
9. And then what is it? Decision red. What's the wording specifically?
Decision red card.
Yeah.
This like always,
and it's like building up. Decision red card.
That's why you said it like in such a almost violent, not like animated way, right? Like, it's like so emotional. It's also Brazilian, right? Brazilians are emotional people. It was amazing. I really feel we don't referee as an English teacher as well. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, we have our sympathy goes out to this guy basically, because we understand the pressure that he went through. We don't mean to make fun of him, but we can understand how that must have been really hard for him. It's also I hope he doesn't mind. I hope he sees the funny side. But it must have been pretty difficult. Yeah.
And look, there was another one. Very similar one, which we should probably mention here. Miguel Almiron, the Paraguayan. He was the first ever player to receive a red card for covering his mouth.
Yeah, amazing.
Do you remember that one?
I do. And the thing about this...
What a moment.
So I didn't realise that this was a rule, that players are not allowed to cover their mouth when they speak. I mean, you see this all the time, like managers, coaches on the bench talking to their staff. They are covering their mouths because they don't want lip readers to understand.
That's why they started doing that. That wasn't always like that.
No.
This only started happening, the covering mouths, because the lip readers got so good that I listened to a podcast about it. The lip readers got so good that they were basically probably getting hired by the newspapers, by the media, but just basically... making life difficult for these players and the teams, because they were transcribing exactly what the players said. Often there's some swear words, some bad words, right? And things like that.
I can imagine for two reasons. Maybe even in the stadium, you've got like lip readers watching the coaches and transcribing what they're saying and telling the other team's management staff exactly. It's like spying, a form of spying in the moment during the game, or maybe afterwards, or whatever, the form of spying, but also simply because those are private conversations and they should stay private. So, and now that they know that lip readers are able to, work out what they're saying, they have to keep it private, so they cover their mouths. But then a law has been introduced which says that players on the pitch are not allowed to speak with their mouths covered. And if you do it, it's a red card offence.
It has to be if you're speaking to the opposition player. If you're speaking to your own player, it's not a red card. So you could, like, for example, in ahead of a free kick, you could just discuss strategy with your teammate. That would be ridiculous if you got a red card for that, right?
Yeah.
Also, there's a footballer, Gyökeres. He plays for Sweden, whose signature celebration is literally covering his mouth. So there were a lot of jokes about him.
Yeah.
Potentially receiving a red card for his signature celebration, which of course wouldn't happen, but it's like a joke. But this Miguel Almiron, player for Paraguay, was the first ever player to award a red card for that. So I also want to ask you how you feel about this. Like, do you approve of this rule? Or?
Well, I'll answer that in a second, but I just wanted to say is the experience of watching it was actually hilarious. Obviously not for the player getting sent off and stuff, but it was pretty hilarious because the player who did it clearly said something with his mouth covered to another player.
Something not nice. He didn't tell him, I love you, right? Probably.
Yeah, it was some sort of abuse or whatever. And but you see the players' reactions, but you can't hear what they're saying. So you can only see their body language. And it looked a bit like watching some children in a playground where the child is going up to the referee and desperately trying to and telling everyone, but it looked like, he covered his mouth. He covered his mouth. Look, he did this. He covered his mouth. He covered his mouth like that.
Yeah.
And it was pretty hilarious. They're all arguing about whether they covered the mouth, and he's like covering his mouth, pointing at the player and stuff like that. And I had no idea what was going on. Like, have they all gone mad, or what did he actually say? And then he got sent off for it. Yeah.
What's your take on this rule then? Like, do you think it's a good one, or because it has a little bit? People have divided opinions on this too.
I don't know. What's the argument against it? I mean, I don't think. I suppose the reason it's been introduced is to try to prevent abuse,
racial abuse, especially, and things like that.
Yeah,
so I'm all for it.
If it's been introduced to prevent players from abusing other players, racially or for whatever reason it is, then hopefully this is going to stop them doing it. And we don't want that in football. We don't want a culture of people abusing each other on the pitch, do we? It's a form of bad faith football, and let's try to clean up the game.
Yeah, it could bring some problems because there might be some misjudgments, on the part of the referee. I think it could happen. I can imagine, but I think it's a good rule to introduce.
How can you? I mean, people will find devious ways of doing it, of saying what they say. Basically, footballers are going to become ventriloquists now, where they're able to speak without their mouths moving. And like the best footballers will also have amazing ventriloquism skills. Where, like, who said that? Where did that voice come from? Who's abusing me? I can't actually see. It's a funny rule.
Yeah, it is. But again, this incident, it again went viral online. The same thing with the referee. Again, DJs did a lot of, because I don't know if it was even the same referee, but similar style. He went like, player number 10, cover his mouth, decision, red card. It was the same way. It was so amazing, man. Like,
for covering his mouth as well. Yeah. It sounds like such a stupid thing. Yeah. I mean, what's next? Like player number 9. What would it be?
Touches his private part.
Decision, red card. Or I don't know. Like, what's the most innocuous thing? Player number 3, pick his nose. Decision, red card. Player number 17, yawning. Decision, red card. No players will be bored in the World Cup. Yeah, I might introduce that into my classes. Student number 3. Student number 3 checking her phone. Decision, red card.
Student number 5 not having homework. Ready? Decision, red card.
In the end, there's no one left in my class. Basically, that's what would happen.
Exactly. No, this is hilarious. Yeah, and we are a little bit making fun of these referees' accents too, but we don't mean it in a bad way. Basically, it's
God, if I was a referee and I had to do it in French, I mean, the internet would have a field day with that one. Well, how would I say? Player number, joueur numéro 10, décision, card rouge. They would fall off their chairs over that.
Yeah,
fair enough. You got to it's all just a bit of fun, isn't it? Really, I suppose, until someone gets hurt. There are probably other teams we haven't mentioned. Spain. Talk about Spain.
Spain. So they drew their first game against Cape Verde. We spoke about that, right? They looked like slow at the beginning. It sometimes happens to the favorites. They need some time to get going, right? But they look all right as well. I don't know. I haven't really seen their two other games. I'm sorry, but they are Spain. They will be good for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. Very talented team.
Basically, what the experts are saying is that they have a real team. They work as a team, so that you don't always get that.
Yeah. Okay. Portugal. I guess their problem is it a problem or is it a strength? Cristiano Ronaldo. So do they build the team around him again? Is it all about him?
The world is divided. The world is divided.
Or not.
This is for me where we can also talk about the GOAT debate, the ultimate GOAT debate. Is it Ronaldo or Messi?
GOAT, of course. GOAT, of course, greatest of all time, as everyone surely knows now. But is it Ronaldo or is it Messi? I mean, it seems to be Messi.
Both players, when you watch them play, they essentially just stand there and walk. Messi does it too. Doesn't run much, just walk. Same Ronaldo, just waiting for his opportunity. Okay, maybe I'm overdoing it, but you can see that given their age, I am a few years older than them, so I can tell you it's not what it used to be. My ability to run, and I'm not as fast as I used to be, so it's natural. Like once you get older, you are not as good. You lose your physicality, you lose your speed, everything, acceleration.
Yeah.
But it seems like Argentina are able to utilize Messi better than Portugal, and it's probably a lot of Portuguese fans will disagree with me, and not only Portuguese fans. Ronaldo is just loved all over the world. For instance, in Vietnam, places like that, it's just such a legend. But it looks like, in my humble opinion, Portugal are weaker with Ronaldo right now, because it's like if they put anyone else there, you know, the pressure of having to always pass to Ronaldo would be off. He did score 2 goals in this World Cup, but it was against Uzbekistan. Not the greatest team. Messi scored 6 already. So
yeah, right. So Messi's winning if we judge it just by this World Cup. Do you know how many goals Ronaldo has got now overall? In total?
You know, he actually broke one record in this tournament. He's become the first ever player to score in 6 consecutive World Cup tournaments.
That's incredible,
but I think it's about 10 or something.
10 goals. Yeah.
I actually had it somewhere.
But I want to know his career goals, because I am directly competing with Ronaldo.
Oh, yeah.
People keep telling me this, that of course the internet is ablaze with chat about who's going to get to the 1,000 first. Is it going to be me or is it going to be Ronaldo? Yeah. And I mean, I think that I'm giving Ronaldo so many opportunities to beat me. I mean, if I wanted to, I could beat him in one day. I just publish 5 episodes in a day, and bang, I've got it. You know, it's up to me. There are no defenders. There's no goalkeeper. I just publish the episodes, and there it is, which I won't be doing. But I'm going to try to stick to my normal uploading schedule and see if Ronaldo can keep up with me, basically, or
unless you get injured, Luke, it's all in your hands. To be honest, right now,
I might.
As far as I can see, Ronaldo has 975 career goals. Google says it. So
okay, so he's about 15 goals off. No, 25.
25. No, I don't know if we can trust this Google search that I've just did, like a quick one that I just did. So don't quote me on that. But I think I'm these World Cup episodes that I'm doing don't have numbers. I could have slapped a number on the end of this and got one step closer, but no, I'm letting Ronaldo. I'm just giving him a chance to try and keep up with me. But we'll see. So he's got maybe about 4 or 5 weeks to score about 25 goals, and he's not going to get that many in the World Cup. Let's be honest. It's the end of the season,
and it's the end of the season. I think I might win.
You will win.
I think he needs to do something. I think that he should pay me something, or there should be something that he gives to me. Maybe he needs to give me, I don't know, what would it be? Just like a big crate of Portuguese beer, please. That would be nice. Just send me a big pack of Super Bock. I think that would be adequate payment for losing this particular thing that he has no idea about, I imagine. I don't think Ronaldo has any clue that he's in this competition with me. And if he knew, I think he would redouble his efforts. He'd be like, oh, I've got to score 24. Oh, well, okay, though, I'll actually make some effort, then I'll start running.
Absolutely.
what have we not covered? Have we covered everything? There'll be obviously there are some teams we haven't mentioned. You mentioned Uzbekistan there, and you kind of casually dismissed them as not a very good team. But of course, I do have quite a lot of Uzbeki listeners. I mean, it must have been great for them to be in the tournament this year. So party time for them.
At least I dismiss my own team as well, right? So at least it doesn't feel like I'm giving a stick to another. I mean, first and foremost, my team has really let me down. So,
okay, fair enough. Yeah, but I just wanted to at least say to the Uzbeki listeners, it must have been awesome having a team in the World Cup. Not to mention the other lower, smaller teams. That we could go on forever, couldn't we, Zdenek? I'm sure there are plenty of other
absolutely
things to mention. If listeners, if we've missed anything, let us know in the comments section and tell us, the talking points that you'd like to, flag up. So publishing this, hopefully I'm going to publish this today, the same day that we actually record it, if I can work fast enough to get it out there. But otherwise, the round of 32, the knockout round is continuing. France play tonight, this evening, I think.
Yeah.
England play tomorrow. We will see. I think on current form, England can't win the World Cup. I think they can't do it playing the way they've been playing. But you never know. This is football. Anything can happen.
It's not unthinkable. Like it's possible. Yeah. There's a chance. There's a chance of that happening.
But my main thing is that I would like a team that's never won the World Cup to win the World Cup this year. And
so not England then, because England have won it once.
Well, I'm going to add a caveat to that, which is that win the World Cup in its current form, because the Jules Rimet Cup, we won that in 1966. In 1970, Brazil won it and they kept it. They were allowed. I think they lost it. I think it got stolen or something. Did they find it again? I don't know. But that old trophy, we won that one. But I'm talking about the new trophy, the one that looks like a weird block of melted golden wax, or I don't, you know what I mean, the big lump of gold that is the World Cup. We haven't won that, so that's my way of including England in this, that I want a team that's never actually lifted that trophy
very
before.
sneaky.
So England are included in the list then. Scotland, I would have been delighted if Scotland had gone further in the competition. Obviously, a British team.
They always out, by the way. They just hold a record, an infamous record of, I think they are the team that haven't made it out of their group most times or something like that. I don't know if I made myself clear enough.
I know, we understand. Yeah. Pity, but there it is. But I mean, the Scots would have just been overjoyed. England, I don't know if we can do it. I think we're at some point, if we keep going, we'll end up facing Brazil in a quarterfinal. We might face Portugal somewhere along the line. Mexico, I think, another potential team that we could play if we continue. So I'd be,
and then Argentina in the semi-final, probably.
Argentina in semi-final, So what are the chances? But I'd like to see England go far.
All the way?
I'd like to see England go to a quarter-final or semi-final. I'd love England to play a big game against a big team, and if we lost, if we put in a good performance, if we actually play the way we know we can play and did our very best, I'd be happy with that. But Morocco? That would be fantastic if they won it, just because the first time an African nation ever wins the World Cup.
Pele said famously, he prophesied that Pele, the famous Brazilian all-time player, right? Pele. I think he said that he predicted that an African nation would win the World Cup by the turn of the millennium. It didn't happen, but they have got much better.
Mm-hmm. Thanks mainly to France, apparently.
I see what you did there.
No, I don't mean to take it away from any nation, of course. But yes, anyway, it's exciting. Can't wait to see what happens next. And at some point down the line, I'll do another podcast, another ramble at some point as we get through the tournament. It's a long tournament. It's a bit of a marathon. So there will be podcast episodes. I'll have to just time it right. It's going to be difficult to time it right, to find the window of time to record something and publish it at the same time. But I'll do my very best. I guess are you doing episodes of the Footglish podcast during the World Cup, or do you?
Yeah. I was doing a lot, but now, of course, I'm a little bit disappointed by the Czech team getting knocked out. So I'm not as excited as I was before, but I will keep going. And you are also invited. Especially, I think it would be an amazing sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Occasion. It would be a great occasion if you could feature when England lift the trophy, or at least get to the final or something like that. Oh, it would be amazing, I think.
Sure. I'll be happy to do that and talk about England, whatever happens with us. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to do that. Okay. Anything else to add? So the Footglish podcast, you can find it where you get your podcasts. And Zdenek, you're back in the Czech Republic now.
I am.
You previously living in Vietnam, or maybe you're still partially living there, but you're back here for the summer. And I guess you got a bit more time in your schedule now. Is that right? You're available. You're available for one-to-one lessons, I think.
For sure. Yeah. Whether it's football lessons, right? I've got a few students actually. Coming from the football environment, you could say. I teach one football manager from the first Czech league as well.
Oh,
I'm not going to say his name, but it's like my high-profile student, you could say.
Yeah.
So I love to work with people from football naturally, because we share a passion, right? But I'm happy to teach someone who is not really into football, but especially if someone like your listeners are amazing, because they generally tend to have very high level. So I love to teach. I would love to teach. If anyone is interested, I have a few slots in my schedule for sure.
So this is good, listeners. An opportunity, because Zdenek has got more time in his schedule now that he's back in the Czech Republic and away from his normal teaching schedule. So yeah, if that's appealing to you, check out Zdenek for some one-to-one teaching. I guess people would just go to teacherzdenek.com.
They will find my email there, but my email teacherzdenek@gmail.com. So Zdenek, Zdenek for your audio listeners.
I'll put a link in the description for your website as well as for the Footglish podcast. So listeners, that's the easiest way. Just go to the website and you can then get in touch with him there if you're interested. Okay, Zdenek, nice one. Enjoy the rest of the tournament. Speak to you again next time, perhaps on the Footglish podcast. Yes.
Yep.
All right. I really enjoyed this. I love talking about football. Okay.
That's the thing. We only scratched the surface, didn't we? And also, I think a lot of stories are yet to be written, because we are kind of in the middle of the tournament, right? You could say,
or even in the beginning. It feels like the qualification round is now done, and now the World Cup is actually beginning.
Right.
And it's a different beast to how it was previously. So yeah, I think that now the World Cup's getting really interesting, and it's going to go quickly now. It's going to go really quickly, because every game now is a knockout game. So
that's right.
Teams are going to be falling like dominoes.
Flies.
Yeah, dropping like flies. Yeah,
like flies. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. Okay, all right, listeners. Thanks very much for listening and or watching to this episode. Thanks very much, Zdenek, for taking part.
Thank you for having me, Luke, and lovely opportunity. And also, good luck to England.
Yeah, thank you. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Will they flop? Will they get knocked out by, who is it? Who are we playing? Senegal?
Congo,
of course. Democratic People's Republic of Congo, DR Congo. I mean, you'd imagine that would be a walk in the park, but no, this is the World Cup. Anything can happen. And England are more than capable of collapsing like some sort of, I don't know, flan that's been left in a cupboard. England are capable of doing that. So maybe we will entertain the world by getting knocked out by DR Congo. We will see.
Yeah. It's football. Right. That's what we love about it. Anything is possible.
That's right. Okay. All right. Cheers, mate. Nice one. Ta-da.
care.
Speak to you soon. Take care. Thanks, everyone. Now it's just, I'll do my bye now. And then bam, I can just do a clean edit at the end and then publish this and then get it out there for the world to hear. And then Ronaldo can finally learn that there's a real competition going on. Okay, listeners, thank you so much. Speak to you next time. But for now, it's just time to say goodbye. Bye. Okay.